Hi everyone, Chris Stanley here from my porch in Canfield. Today I wanted to share with you why I chose to come to the Mahoning Valley. My wife is from Austintown. She grew up there and she graduated from Fitch, but from the moment I met her, she talked about the culture of family that existed here in the Mahoning Valley. She would also talk about the amazing pizza and Handel's ice cream and wedding soup and spaghetti sundaes and cookie tables, something that doesn't exist in Columbus, and it just sounded like a fairy tale, magical world to me. And when we would come visit her family, I looked around and I thought, maybe she's not exaggerating that much. And so we were living in Columbus together for a few years, raising our blended family. And moving here was something we would continually discuss. And it was something that we would, kind of look around real estate for and talk over all the details that would go into that. And, but generally life felt like it was on the right track and it was something we'd talk about. And then 4 years ago in September, we got news that rocked our world a bit. Our son was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. For me, I was devastated and I was terrified. I remember holding him, not knowing what to do, and as a father feeling like I wanted to protect him and I couldn't. I was terrified about what that meant for him. I was terrified about the unknown. And this really is where my wife enters the story as the superhero she is. She had been training her whole adult life for this moment. She, undergrad autism studies, graduate degree autism studies. She was even in a doctoral program. She had worked for private companies with in-home therapy. She had worked in schools and autism units and in integrated units. She was well immersed in that world, and she took the reins immediately. And she talked about all the resources here that she knew of that would be available and all the people here that she knew in that field that could be of help. And she also laid out a hard truth for me as well. She said, listen, we are going to need help. And her mother was retired. She retired from GM in Lordstown, was living in Boardman, and her mother would be available to offer us that help. And so, honestly, that was the final push that said, okay, you know what? This idea we've been kicking around about moving to the Valley, it is the right move for our family. And we did that. 5 months later, we closed on a house. In fact, it's the house I'm sitting at right now, talking to you. And, I am proud to call this my home. And everything she described the Mahoning Valley to be, I have found to be absolutely true. My family loves it here, and it's just a wonderful area. And our son is getting the services he needs, and he's thriving, as we all are, doing well. This gives me a chance to bring up very quickly something that is of great significance to me, and that is taking care of our population who has special needs. I feel strongly that a society is judged by how they treat the most vulnerable among them. And I want to make sure we are doing everything we can for our people here in the Valley who have special needs. A lot of families run into issues such as diagnostic exclusions when they're trying to get insurance to cover the needed therapies or services for their child. And they're not getting covered. That is wrong. Not only do we have a federal law that says you can't discriminate against pre-existing conditions, but we passed this law here in Ohio that insurance companies are mandated to cover treatment for autism and the therapies that go along with it. And families are still not getting those services. We need to close those diagnostic exclusion loopholes, and we need to look at all of our services we offer. And by the way, when someone who is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder turns 18, they just don't magically not have that anymore. We also need to look and make sure we're taking care of our adults with disabilities, and not just who are diagnosed with autism, but the whole array of our special needs population. We need to make sure we are serving them and the families correctly and in a way that is going to help families and those with those diagnoses to thrive in this society. I'm going to have a lot more to say on that later. I have been talking with a lot of people here behind the scenes about some things we can do to advance, the coverage and the treatments that are available to our special needs population. I will have some announcements about that shortly, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into why that issue is so important to me, as I know it's important to many of you watching out here now. It's not an issue that affects Democrats. It's not an issue that affects Republicans. This is an issue that affects all of us here from every background. And it's something that I'm going to work from day one, January in 2021, if I'm elected, the day I'm sworn in. It will be a top priority of mine. And I look forward to being able to serve you in that capacity. More on that later, but that's why I came to the Valley. Those reasons and more, of course. Thanks for listening to me for a little bit. I will talk to you soon on those issues. Have a great day. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.